All right, well, let's go ahead and launch here. There's still a few in the lobby, but they'll make their way in. Good evening and welcome to our political forum. My name is Greg Sandlin, and it's my privilege to serve as chairman of the Coffee County Republican Party. Thank you for all who contributed their time and energy to make this happen tonight, and thanks to the candidates who have served or would like to serve the citizens of our city and county. The Republican Party exists to hold up our conservative principles, find candidates who adhere to those principles, and hold them accountable to be consistent in practicing those principles. So what are our conservative principles? Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, recently summarized them really well. We believe in individual freedom, limited government, the rule of law, peace through strength, fiscal responsibility, free markets, and human dignity. And thank you for attending and engaging in this process and for submitting questions for the candidates. There's still time to submit questions. We've got the boxes out front to do that. So if you have a question for either the school board or property assessor candidates, please submit those. But we are a government of, for, and by the people. And for our government to work, it's going to take the people being engaged, staying informed, and contributing to our ideas, your ideas at every level. So that's what we're here for. The plan for tonight, we're going to start with a prayer, followed by a pledge. So please stand, and I invite Pastor Will Young to offer a prayer for us.
Please pray with me. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening acknowledging, as your word says, that there is no authority on earth except from you, and that all authorities that do exist have been instituted by you. And so we worship you and we praise you as the ultimate authority, as the King and sovereign ruler and creator of all things, also as our Savior and Master and Lord. We ask that you would grant us grace and wisdom as we exercise authority in the different areas that you have entrusted to us to lead, whether in our communities or our places of business, in our churches, and even in our homes. Father, we also ask for your wisdom and grace in this wonderful process of selecting and electing leaders to lead our community. We pray your blessing upon this time of questioning and answering, and that you would give us wisdom and grace, and that you would provide the right people who would exercise the authority you have entrusted to them in a way that brings you honor and glory. We thank you for these candidates. We pray your blessing upon them and upon their families, and we ask that your will would be done and your kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Will. And Jeff Johnson with our pledge.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor to lead everybody in the pledge. It's funny, we were talking to the cadets this week about the pledge, and we're in school about 180 days out of the year, so they recite it at least 180 times if they show up for all 180 days. Some of the cadets, though, because we recite it at the beginning of each period, get to say it twice as many times. And then, of course, us instructors, we recite it about 540 times in a school year. But I'll tell you this, each and every time is a blessing. And I'm so thankful that we still are able to recite our pledge. It's a solemn promise that we give freely. So with that, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks.
Thank you, Colonel Johnson. Just a few quick comments about our rules and introductions tonight. First, our moderator for the night is Mr. Dwayne Sherrill, editor of the Tullahoma News. Dwayne, you can go ahead and grab your table if you want. Your mic should be active. Thank you, Dwayne. And then I'm going to go ahead and invite the school board members up. I'll introduce the candidates from here, but let's invite the school board members to go on up. Mr. Brock Compton, Fanchion Miller, Kim Musselton, and Pat Welch. Those 4 candidates are going for a 4-year term. And I tried to kind of signify that as a desk. They're going for a 4-year term. And then next, Ms. Rosie Graham and Beth Harrison. They're going for a 2-year term. But they'll all be answering the same questions tonight. So next is our questions. My questions, folks, we're ready to deliver? All right, good deal. We've asked you to put questions in here. Looks like we got a lot to choose from, so that's great. So I'm going to go ahead and hand these to Dwayne, and then that will start our event tonight. There's only one microphone for you all to share, so we're just going to pass it on down.
Well, I guess we should get started. So we'll start right here to my left. You have 3 minutes to tell the people here anything you want to tell them.
All right. Thank you. Good evening. And first, I want to thank Tullahoma High School for hosting this event. And I'd like to say thank you to everyone here for taking the time to be here tonight and to meet us and voice your opinions and get more information about who we are, where we come from, and what we're trying to do. My name is Brock Compton. A lot of you probably have no idea who I am, so I'll give you the cliff notes. I'm a Tennessean, born and raised. I probably served in the United States Marine Corps for 5 years. I served in the Army National Guard for 4 years. I worked as a private contractor for the Air Force and for the Army Special Operations Air Regiment. I'm currently working here at Tullahoma Regional Airport with the Vanderbilt program, the Life Flight program, keeping them in the air to save lives, do what they do, the amazing work that they do every day. I've been blessed with the most wonderful wife, Caitlin. We moved here in 2019. She is also an Air Force veteran of 6 years, and we have 2 amazing children. Our daughter, she's 6 today. We spent all day at Build-A-Bear and Chuck E. Cheese's, so you'll have to bear with me. She's a Bel Air Bee. She absolutely loves going to school. She loves her teachers, and I've never seen a kid get upset about having a snow day and not being able to go to school. So that's a good testament to our teachers and what they're doing for our kids. I also have a son. He's 2.5. He'll be at Bel Air soon. Unfortunately, they grow up too quick. But we're excited for him to get started and see the man that he becomes. But tonight I'm here. I'm running for school board, not as a politician, but as a dad. I'm running because I want my kids to have the best opportunity for a higher education and quality education. I want them to be set up for long-term success, not just at school, but for the community. And regardless, set up for success long after they leave Tullahoma. But it's not just my kids that I'm concerned about. It's all the kids, regardless of demographics, regardless of income, regardless of whatever obstacles you want to put in front of them to learn. They deserve the very best that we can give them because they are the future of our town. And as a community, I believe it's our duty to give them the very best opportunities to succeed in life, and then some. They all deserve a solid education, and we can do that. And I believe we can do that through career, college prep courses, technical education courses, and other great programs taught by talented educators that are passionate about guiding our students to success and putting the kids first in every decision, no matter what the decision. So that's me, and thank you.
And let's just move down the line, introduce yourself, and you have 3 minutes to tell the audience about yourself.
Hello, my name is Fanchen Miller, and I'm seeking your support to serve on the Tullahoma Board of Education. I am the daughter of a career military veteran and a school teacher. Home for me was never in one place more than a few years, as it was wherever the military sent my dad. We were stationed all over the US, in Europe, and in Japan, but it only mattered that our family was together. I was raised with Southern conservative Christian values. Honesty, integrity, and compassion are important characteristics that had been instilled in me and now in my son. I am a single working mom, and my son and I moved to Tullahoma in 2017. A graduate of Virginia Tech, my professional expertise is in business and data analytics. Since our arrival, I have been honored to be part of an amazing team of parents who are supporting our church youth. You may or may not be aware, but our school system was recently awarded a grade of C by the State Board of Education. This was a complete shock to me, and probably to you as well. But recent research reveals that our school system has actually been in slow decline for over a decade, dropping from number 73 to 121 in the state. Our test rank dropped from 105 to 147, placing TCS in the bottom 50th percentile. All 4 of our surrounding districts rank higher than we do. We are number 5 out of 5. We must reverse this trend. As a parent of a high schooler, my focus as a school board member will always be on school safety and promoting academic curriculum and programs that prepare all of TCS students for long-term success. These include a focus on achieving academic excellence, improving our students' physical and mental health, identifying and reducing bullying and harassment, emphasizing substance abuse prevention, and cultivating and instilling leadership and teamwork. I understand the importance of teamwork and collaboration, and I want to empower parents to be involved in their children's education every step of the way. I look forward to earning your trust, your vote, and serving our community on the Board of Education. I humbly ask for your support in helping to uphold our traditional American values in our schools and bringing our schools back up to the reputation for excellence that it deserves. I will be available for questions and to meet you after the forum, and I thank all of you for taking time on your Saturday evening. Thank you.
Please introduce yourself, and you have 3 minutes to address the audience. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Hello, my name is Kim Copeland-Usselton, and I am running for one of the 3 seats of the 4-year term for the Tullahoma City Schools Board of Education. My fondness for and dedication to Tullahoma City Schools is that of a former student, 1st through 12th grade, where I graduated THS with a grade class of 1978. A teacher at Jack T. Farah, where I was honored to be named Teacher of the Year, an educational assistant at Robert E. Lee, a full-time volunteer, multiple-year PTO president, golf booster president, and parent of 2 boys who attended and graduated from TCS. But my most important role related to TCS is that of a board member, where I have served since 2012, and in the position as board chairman for the past 4 years. I'm a level 4 on TSBA's boardsmanship program and have hundreds of credits beyond what is required. I have attended all state conventions and 10 of 12 national conventions. I have been a moderator and a facilitator. In 2021, I was honored to receive the All Tennessee School Board Award. Board work goes far beyond the boardroom. I have spent many hours on the Hill advocating for Tullahoma students, faculty, and staff, as well as for students in public education across Tennessee. I worked closely with former board member Jessica Fogarty when Senator Janice Bowling carried a bill for us that would allow for school districts to have the choice of test due to the concerns surrounding 10 Ready. I have testified before the Senate Education Committee. I attend legislative gatherings and never pass up the opportunity to speak in support of THS and voice concerns if necessary. I graduated from the Coffee County Leadership Program in 2022. I'm a board member for the Tullahoma Area Chamber of Commerce and a vice president of the executive board. My love of education began in September of 1966 when I sat at a desk in the first grade room of Mrs. Emmylou Huddleston at Robert E. Lee, where I was handed a cool, somewhat damp, strange-smelling ditto with a block A and an apple with a worm coming out of it printed on it. The love continued with Marty Sims, Margaret Russo, Gloria Crick, John Rickman, Ann Hickerson, Virginia Woodall, Mike Bryant, and Ann Baldwin, to name a very few. I thought teachers were magic, and at 63, I know they are. Strong schools help communities to thrive, and Tullahoma is no exception. My grandmother was a cafeteria worker at South Jackson. My mother graduated high school from what was for me East Junior High. All 5 of my siblings and all of their children attended and graduated from TCS. My husband's parents and his siblings all attended and graduated from TCS. Tullahoma is not just where I live, and Tullahoma City Schools are not just where I attend. They are a bigger part of who I am. I'm running again because my passion for Tullahoma City Schools has not waned in 57 years. There are great things happening and more to accomplish. Thank you.
Please introduce yourself, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I'm Pat Welch, and first I want to tell you that I absolutely loved school. I'm a graduate of THS and Tennessee Tech, where I received a bachelor's in secondary education with highest honors. I then coached and taught at Battleground Academy in Franklin, Tennessee for 3 years before returning to Tullahoma to work and to eventually manage the Builder Supply Company. After coming home, I continued to invest in young people. For over 30 years, I've taught high school Sunday school, coached in the Frank Mullins Youth Football League, coached Church League Basketball League, coached Little League Baseball for 10 years, and coached in our youth wrestling program for 31 years. In 2017, I was inducted in the Tennessee chapter of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame, and in 2022, I was inducted into the Tennessee AAU Wrestling Hall of Fame. I've also invested in Tullahoma. I've served as a city alderman, served as chairman of the Tullahoma Industrial Board, served as president of the Tullahoma Chamber of Commerce, and served as a board member of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes for over 40 years. I've invested in our school system. I've served the Board of Education since 2000 and served as board chairman for 8 years. Since 2018, I've served as a state director of TSBA, which is the Tennessee School Board Association, and I represent school systems of the South Central District, which is 16 systems. In 2017, I was named to the All-Tennessee School Board, and I'm currently enjoying being a reading buddy at Bel Air Elementary. I've used my experience with the Builder Supply while serving on the maintenance committee. While on the board, we have built 2 new schools, West Middle and East Lincoln, remodeled this fine auditorium, and rebuilt Wilkins Stadium, and we're currently involved in a major addition at Fair Elementary. Finally, in 2017, I was named the Chamber's Citizen of the Year Award, and in 2019, the Tullahoma News Citizen of the Year. I would respectfully ask the voters to consider re-electing me to serve as board member of Tullahoma City School System.
Ladies and gentlemen, the candidates you've heard from just now, these 4 will be seeking the 4-year term coming up. Of the 4, 3 will be elected. Now we go on to our next set of hopefuls, and one of these 2 fine ladies will be elected in the term that will be a 2-year term coming up. Please introduce yourself, and you have 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Rosie Graham, and I'm seeking the election to the 2-year unexpired term on the Tullahoma City School Board. First, I'm running because I am passionate about education and the role it plays in improving people's lives. Let me ask you this. If you didn't grow up here, beside coming to this area for a job, why did you pick Tullahoma? And if you did grow up here, what was the major reason you stayed? It was likely for the same reason that I did when we moved here some 48 years ago. We were told, you want to live in Tullahoma because the schools are the best in the area. I believe that schools have an enormous impact on the communities that they serve. This leads me to my second reason for seeking office. I believe that I have a responsibility as a citizen to contribute to my community. And I think that my strong commitment to education, My skills and experience in the workforce and my years of community involvement provide me with unique qualifications and perspectives to offer as a school board member. I served for 12 years on the Tullahoma City School Board from 1998 to 2010. As a board member and 2 years as chairman, I come with a comprehensive understanding of the tremendous responsibilities involved in being on a school board. I have taught for 40 years as an associate professor of computer science and mathematics at Motlow College. From this, I bring to the board not only my experience as an educator, but also a unique perspective from those students who have come through our school systems. I have over 55 years of experience as a computer programmer analyst, both in the workforce, at IBM in the space program, at AEDC in engine testing, and as a college educator. From my professional experience, I have extensive computer knowledge to share with the school system. I have a long history of participation in the performing arts in this area, in theaters and in the schools. My advocacy for the arts provides an understanding of how these non-core curriculum add to the education of our children. I have also served my community through my church, in social and philanthropic groups, in youth programs, and in volunteer service. From these associations, I bring to the board the voices of the many people I know and with whom I have served through the years. The Tullahoma City School System has long been a drawing card to this community because of its vision for excellence in education, and I would welcome the opportunity to once again add my voice and experience to this board as it works through today's challenges in education. If elected, I will work tirelessly as a team member on the board to listen to ideas, to learn from the facts, to lead with conviction, and as we seek to provide the best education for all the students in Tullahoma, with the hope that they become successful citizens, adding their voice to making Tullahoma a great place to live. Thank you.
Please introduce yourself, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Beth Harrison, and I am excited to be running for Tullahoma City Board of Education. I currently hold a seat on the board, having been appointed by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen in March of last year. My husband Jeff and I moved to Tullahoma 9 years ago, and I'm the mother of 4 children attending Tullahoma City schools. I live out the decisions made by the school board every day. Like most families, I'm at school drop-offs and parent-teacher conferences, IEP meetings, and concerts and games, and I feel that it's important to have someone on the board who actually has children attending our schools, someone who has a vested interest in the success of our students. I will have children attending Tullahoma City schools likely for the next 17 years, so the future of the school system is immensely important to me and to my family. I'm also a passionate advocate for individuals with special needs, as my 2 youngest children, my daughters, have disabilities. I'm a graduate of the Volunteer Advocacy Project at Vanderbilt Kennedy Center, where I received training to support families and children receiving special education services. I'm also a family engagement specialist with the ARC Tennessee. The ARC is a nonprofit that provides services, resources, and opportunities to people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their families. Specifically, I work collaboratively on a project with the Tennessee Department of Education to help parents and caregivers increase their knowledge and involvement in special education. I believe that all of Tullahoma's students have the right to a free, appropriate public education, and that we should do our best to prepare each student for a meaningful and productive future. I hold the conviction that public education is extremely important, not just for the students, but for the benefit of the community at large, because healthy schools lead to healthy communities. I would be delighted to continue to work collaboratively with the board and ensure a quality education for all of TCS students, and I would be honored to have your support. Thank you.
You can hold on to the mic. We're going to go backwards tonight. So I have not seen these questions yet, guys, so don't shoot the messenger. And by the way, shameless plug, we will have stories on the debate in the Tullahoma News starting Wednesday, and we'll probably try to do a 2 or 3-parter. So Here we go. Okay, this one, we're going to start with you, Ms. Harrison, and we're going to work our way back this way. You have.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to go there. 1 minute and 15 seconds. And like I say, we're going to work back this way. Address your answer to the voters out here. Make sure to talk to them whenever you answer. Okay, our first question tonight. What is the role of the school board in public education?
I've been blessed to have some time now to observe the board and participate and learn how they operate. And our job as a board is to work collaboratively. The reason why we have a board is so that we have different opinions and different perspectives. And it's not just to agree with everything the director of schools says. We are not a rubber stamp. We are elected officials and should act that way. Our job is oversight of the entire district and not just evaluating the work of the school director once a year. I believe stewardship of the taxpayer dollars is extremely important as far as the roles of the school board are concerned. I also think open-mindedness with all of the stakeholders that are involved, parents, educators, administrators, other board members. We need to keep ourselves open-minded. And I think one of the roles of the board should be to increase transparency. I don't know that necessarily sunshine laws are enough. I think, I think citizens have the right to be in the know about their government, and that includes public schools. Thank you.
We will now go to you, Ms. Graham. You have 1 minute and 15 seconds, and the same question goes to you. What is the role of the school board in public education?
Well, I think there are really three things that the school board does in public education. It hires a superintendent, it manages a budget, and it promotes the school systems into the community. Those are three major things. It also provides resources so that we can build good schools and have our schools supplied with good teachers and good administration. And we actually support that. I think some of what Beth has said has been very good. I think that we do listen to our constituents. We do act collaboratively. The board should be made up of different people with different ideas that come forward and bring different perspectives to the board. And in doing that, then we come together and understand that. I think that's one of the things I think is very good, though. I think there are three things we need to understand. The board does not hire and fire teachers. The board hires a superintendent who is managed through the board, and the system is managed that way. We have say-so, we have understanding, we vote about things, but we don't have total control over everything in the school system. We manage it through our administration that way. Thank you.
Mr. Welsh, you have 1 minute and 15 seconds, and the question is the same. What is the role of the school board in public education?
By state statute, our number one objective is to set policy for the system. And if anybody's seen our policy book, it's about a foot thick. And we've got one committee that works on that just about every month. We only have, as has already been stated, we only have one employee. We have a fine director of schools that we have set goals and objectives for her, and she's evaluated once a year. I feel like that one of our main purposes is to facilitate communication between the public and our system. And that's basically it. We sometimes forget that we have one employee. Also, somebody said something about hiring and firing. No, we don't have anything to do with the teachers. In fact, the only vote we have on a teacher is once they're recommended for tenure, the board votes on whether to accept that or not. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, is it Uselton or Usselton?
It's Usselton, but Uselton works.
I've seen it in print many times. I just don't say it.
That's okay.
Uselton.
That's okay. Yeah, it's
okay.
Usselton.
Usselton.
Yes.
Jeez, come on. All right. Ms. Usselton, you have 1 minute and 15 seconds, and it's the same question, but I'll reread it.
Thank you so much.
What is the role of the school board in public education?
Thank you. Actually, it's very clear. It comes from the State Board of Education, and we have three roles. We hire the superintendent and evaluate the superintendent. We establish policy that's based on law, and we do a budget. And obviously, under those three main headings, there are things that come under that. But those are the main things that a school board does. So it's very clear. I think that when you run for school board or you come on the school board, it seems a little bit different as what you thought you were going to be doing. But it is not the day-to-day running of the school system. Thank you.
Ms. Miller, you have 1 minute and 15 seconds. I think you know by now, and I'm going to go ahead and read the question again, just to stay consistent. What is the role of the school board in public education?
So I understand that the role realistically has three different areas that we're responsible for: hiring of the superintendent, working on the policies, as well as the budget. Some other things that I have observed in different boards is you really have to work collaboratively. It's important to have those open and honest discussions in the public's eye so that the community knows what your thoughts are, and so that the community can also provide some feedback and input. Again, I know that we need to have financial stewardship. Right now, we've got a budget about $42.2 million. It had an 18% increase in 2 years. I think that's kind of a significant increase, and the increase of the budget, we really only got our school system a grade of a C. But I think going back to what the role is, we've got to work everything for the kids. Everything that the school board would do is for the kids. We need to really improve the academics for the children. Test scores have been low, and I would like to see that we would get more certified reading specialists, math interventionists, and build that foundation at that elementary level so that by the time they get to high school, they'll be okay. Thank you.
Mr. Compton, 1 minute and 15 seconds, and I will read the question one more time. What is the role of the school board in public education?
Thank you. I understand that the role is set cut and dry, as everyone else has said, that they do what they do by law. But I think one of the biggest things that they should do as part of that is to take any of the issues that come up to the school board and take them out to the community. Talk to the parents of the students, talk to the educators and how it's going to affect them and their kids, and then work with those answers, and as a team, also with the other members of the school board, to come up with the best possible solution for our kids. I believe if we do that and we put our kids at the foundation of all our decisions, backed by the educators and their parents, you can't go wrong. A good foundation builds a good house, and without that, it's gonna collapse. And we've seen a little bit of that. And I think that we can turn it around, and we can put us back to where we once were and where we should be. So thank you.
We're going to stay right there. I think running for school board, y'all by now know you got 1 minute and 15 seconds, so I'm not going to repeat that every time from here on out. We're going to go with you, Mr. Compton, and here's the next question, and we'll pursue back that way. And I'm going to add a little bit to it. I'm an editor, so I get to edit a little bit. What is the reasoning to have a 1 p.m. early release time for elementary schools, and how do you feel about it going forward?
I'm going to speak as a parent. I'm not a teacher. I don't set policies yet, or hopefully. But I don't see a reason for it, personally. Our students have 2.5 days of makeup days, and I feel that if you cut one day or an early day out, or an early release time out, that not only does that strain our makeup days, but it also strains the schedules of the parents who have to work 9 to 5 jobs, or 8 to 5, 9 to 5, to make ends meet, especially in today's economy. And it gives our students more times with the teachers to work on those shortcomings and any areas that they need help in. I think releasing early does affect that, and it affects families. It puts strain on families, and today, in today's times, I think students, I'm going to redirect. Some students will go home, they might not have anybody to go home to. So I think being there with their friends, with good quality educators, could give them that boost they need in the future. So thank you.
And I'll ask the question. I'm not going to introduce everybody again. I think everybody knows by now. But I'm going to ask the question again just for consistency. What is the reasoning to have a 1 p.m. early release for elementary schools, and how do you feel about it?
So the 1 p.m. early release was something new to me when I moved to Tullahoma back in 2017. I would understand that the 1 p.m. early release was probably brought about by teachers needing to have that extra time to either grade papers, do work, maybe even do some self-development for their careers. As far as the actual reason, I don't know, but how I feel about it, I struggle with that. I would actually be on the fence if that were to come up for a vote. I really think that is more of a community decision. We would need to have input and feedback from everyone this affects: parents, working parents, even stay-at-home parents. In regards to letting the children out, I do have concern that they don't really have that consistency until 3 o'clock. If they do go home early, sometimes they don't have anyone there, may not have anyone there until 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock at night. If you change the schedule, my concern is just arbitrarily changing any schedule, just as what happened with the fall and the spring breaks, going from 2 weeks down to 1 week. It affects parents, single parents. It affects even businesses. Businesses sometimes will rely on the fact that there's 2 weeks and they have to worry about the office staff. Thank you.
And again, the question is, what is the reasoning to have a 1 p.m. early release date for elementary schools, and how do you feel about it?
The 1 p.m. early release days for our elementary school is for our teachers and our students and our school system. It provides time for professional development. Elementary teachers do not have very much time away from their students. They are with their students a lot. It's even hard to use the restroom if you're an elementary teacher. A few years ago, the 1 o'clock release days came up, and we put out a survey, and overwhelmingly, the parents and the teachers wanted the 1 o'clock days. It can be a time for remediation, a time for tutoring, a time for meetings that are difficult for parents to meet at other times, or teachers to meet with parents at other times. And as long as it is benefiting the student and our teachers, I would definitely continue to support the 1 o'clock release days.
And the question, as asked before, what is the reasoning to have a 1 p.m. early release date for elementary, and how do you feel about it?
I think Ms. Usselton was looking at my notes because she stole most of my thunder. The elementary teachers may be the hardest working teachers that we have. The middle school and the high school teachers all have a planning period. They have none during the day except on that Wednesday when they get off at 1 o'clock. It's also used for personnel development time. And Ms. Usselton's right. They have almost no breaks, and they have a tough day. And I would favor right now to continue to keep it in the survey that we've, as she pointed out, was very much in favor of keeping it.
And the question again, what is the reasoning to have 1 p.m. early release for elementaries, and how do you feel about it?
I don't have a lot to add to what's been said as we move this question down. I feel that it needs to stay for right now for the very reasons that have been pointed out. Teachers need that time. They need the time to regroup. They need the time to plan. They get no other planning time than that. And I also think that elementary students are young, and many of them need that extra time away from the school as well. So I think this really, it works well for both the students and the teachers at this point in time. I would stay with it, but I also would go back to the community and be willing to ask them and do a review to see how they really feel about it.
And lastly, but not leastly, what is the reason to have a 1 p.m. early release time for elementary, and how do you feel about it?
I think it's definitely necessary to have professional development time for our teachers. They work tirelessly and need that time to be planning for their lessons and for the rest of the week. I also believe that it is part of the culture of our community to have early release on Wednesdays, and I believe that we should continue to poll the families in the district and see if it's still working for them, and if it is, we should continue it. Thank you.
Hold on to that microphone. We're
Yes,
going
sir.
right back down. We're going to run it back. Okay.
Don't they get to start sometimes?
Now, we can do that if y'all wish, but it's going to mean you're going to have to get up and carry the microphone. So is this okay to continue like this? I mean, we can do
Let's
it
do it.
differently, but,
I don't mind starting.
yeah. Okay, then we are going to start with Miss Graham.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There we go. And this,
And wrap it back around.
are you ready? Here we go. How are you going to keep woke ideologies out of the classrooms?
I'm not going to keep woke out of the classroom. It's not my business to do that. As a school board member, let's go back and talk about what school board members do. They service through an administration. They write policies. But in terms of me, myself, and I keeping woke out of that, do I believe in it? Doesn't matter. We write policies to do things like that. We work with our administration. We don't make those things, so I don't keep woke out of it. Somebody else might, but I don't.
All right, next. I'll read it again. How are you going to keep woke ideologies out of our classrooms?
Our schools are a reflection of our community, and we have a conservative community. I'd have a hard time defining woke.
I'll ask it again just for consistency. How are you going to keep woke ideologies out of our classrooms?
I think something that people don't really understand is our teachers do not develop standards. Our standards come to us as a requirement from the state. Our curriculum is given to us from the state. So if there's question about some of the standards being woke, that would need to be the legislators. We do not make laws as board members. And it would not be my job on a day-to-day basis to determine whether or not a standard is being taught as woke. I'm kind of like Pat. I'm not exactly sure what that is. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to read it again. And I did not write this question, by the way. I'm getting them off from this magic box in front of me, and literally, watch my face when I pull them out. It's the first time I'm seeing them. So, how are you going to keep woke ideologies out of our classrooms?
Well, I understand that we do have policies as the board would have the policies that they have to follow, but what I would want to do is to work with the administration to make sure that the curriculum meets the standards that it should. Again, I go back to our traditional American values. We all know that woke is coming into the curriculum. It is seeping in. It's seeping into the libraries, and it's seeping everywhere, including this small town. In regards to how I would do it, that would be a collaborative effort with the school board to work with the schools in an effort to make sure that that doesn't happen. Schools were put into place with the basics of reading, writing, and arithmetic. Those are the basic foundations that our students need. I do know that they need more than that. There are other areas that they could get other information, but again, I go back to we need to focus on our students, their education, and their future. If we don't focus on their future and make them successful academically and keep politics out of it, then we're going to hurt our community in the long run. Thank you.
And again, to read the question, how are you going to keep woke ideologies out of our classrooms?
So, this is a touchy subject, but woke, anything woke is really, it takes away it takes away from the focus of our core education. Anything that's not baseline education is a distraction. So you can say it's woke, you can say it's politics, anything that's not there to help our kids is taken away from our kids. I think, and I'm going to repeat myself, we should talk with our teachers and our parents about the curriculum that's coming home and the curriculum that the kids are learning. And then we can work with our teachers about the curriculum to see what they approve and disapprove of and how it's affecting the kids. And we can work together as a community to try to push out what we don't want forced on our kids. And that takes a group effort. And I think the board, even though it might not be in our job description, we can work with the teachers and everybody to make our schools how we want our schools to be for our kids. Thanks.
I didn't forget about you, Miss Harrison, all the way down.
Who wants it?
Yeah. See, I was trying to avoid the walking, but that's okay. Okay, one last time. How are you going to keep woke ideologies out of our classrooms?
One of the principles that I teach my own children is that they need to tell the truth. And I think we need to be teaching truth to our students. I would focus the school system on educating our children and not indoctrinating them into a specific set of beliefs. And I would hope that if someone wants to teach their children something contradictory, they have the freedom to do that at home. Policies can help keep woke agendas out of our classrooms. And there was actually a situation a couple of years ago where there was some sexually explicit materials being used in a high school class, which is absolutely not acceptable. And it was part of the role of the board to be involved in changing that and making sure that the class was using different literature. So it absolutely does happen, and it absolutely needs to be addressed. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to start with Mr. Welch this time. Welch. And
We're still going to have time for a closing statement, aren't we?
I think we can do one more in a closing statement. Let's do this one last one, then we can do closing statement, because this is a good one. What is your opinion of Governor Lee's voucher program?
Short version, or
1.15 seconds.
the voucher system takes away money, and if you talk to somebody that really knows, they're taking money from the pot that feeds public education and taking it to people who really don't need the voucher. It's going to private schools that have got parents with plenty of means to pay the tuition. In my opinion, if they really wanted to make the thing work, they could increase the budget for the public school systems to meet inflation and make another pot for vouchers. But the vouchers right now are going from our pot.
And again, what is your opinion of Governor Lee's voucher program?
The voucher system, the way it is written, I'm opposed to, because it is taking money from public schools. Another big concern that I have is there's no accountability measure. One of the things facing our teachers that is making it so difficult is there is more and more expectation of them, and the accountability measures are incredible. So taxpayer money is going to be taken out of our system and given to students to take to homeschool or to private school, and there is no accountability measure, yet we have more and more accountability measures for private school. So the way the voucher system is written, I oppose it. I'm thrilled to live in a community, in a state where we can have public schools, private schools, and homeschooling, but I want the taxpayer dollars to stay in public schools.
Again, what is your opinion of Governor Lee's voucher program?
So in regards to the voucher program, I want to speak generally. Ultimately, it's parents' choice. It's the parents' choice to decide whether or not you're going to vaccinate your child. It should be the parents' choice on where you want their education. The government should not run our children. On the flip side, and I do have two sides to this, I don't agree with the way that the voucher bill was currently written. I do think that it is lacking in regards to the special ed children, which is something that my comrade over there, Beth Harrison, pointed out, which I didn't know. She brought that to me, to my attention, and I really feel that it's not all-inclusive at this point for the voucher system. Ultimately, I'd love to see our schools excel again, where parents won't even want to have that choice anymore. Because I agree, it would take money away from the public systems. I grew up in the public system, whether or not it was on base or whether or not it was in a state, wherever we were. I have no problem with public education. It's just one of those decisions right now that I just don't think that we are there to make an official decision to go ahead with that. Thank you.
And what is your opinion of Governor Lee's voucher program?
Yeah, I agree that we do need to relook at any voucher system. It needs to be written to where it benefits everyone and every family. I agree that we have to have freedom of choice, but at the same time, we need to keep our kids in our schools or at home school, whatever you choose. But if it could be written in a way that benefits us and we get our schools back to an A+ school, if it's written the way it should be, and we do use voucher systems, it could bring those families that want to bring their tax dollars and their kids to our district, and it could be benefited if it was rewritten. But as of right now, I don't support it. So thank you.
Okay, well, we're going back that way. All the way back to Ms. Harrison, and then we'll conclude that with Ms. Graham after that. And the question, of course, is, what is your opinion of Governor Lee's voucher program?
First, I want to be clear that I believe parents have the right to choose to educate their children in whatever environment they choose. But I have a unique perspective as a parent with students with disabilities. I'm currently against the school voucher draft as it's written because it fails to accommodate for special education students. One of the provisions of the voucher system is that you can use that money to send your child to a private school. You could also use it to send them to a neighboring public school if you so choose. But this is a problem because private schools are not held to the same standards as public schools. Private schools don't have to comply with ADA regulations or the federal IDEA, which says that all children have to be provided with an ambitious education program. Private schools don't have to follow student IEPs as well. So again, I support a parent's decision, but I feel the draft as it's written, it's deeply flawed and needs some modifying. Thank you.
And one last time, what is your opinion of Governor Lee's voucher program?
Well, since I'm last, I can also say that I am in agreement with most of the people up here saying that I don't think the voucher, the way it is written, is valid for our area at all. Again, I'm a big believer in public schools and what they offer to all students. We need to have programs for everybody, and when we take the money away from that, we limit our programs as well. I think Tullahoma City Schools is a strong public education, and it provides so many programs, specialty programs for what we need. And I think the voucher system at this point in time, the way it's written, would definitely not adhere to that. So I'm against it for now, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are we going to do any more questions, or is it time for close?
We're moving real quickly through those, so let's do one more question, and then as long as we keep it to a minute, 15 seconds. And then there'll still be time for a short closing statement. We've got time for that.
Oh, this is a good one. It's a short one. Okay, we will start out with Ms. Miller. Have you started out one yet? You haven't. Okay, we're going to start with you, and we will we'll go that way, and then the mic will come to you last. Okay, well, here we go. And this is kind of the rapid round here, because we're getting ready for closing statements. And not to surprise anybody, but Ms. Harrison, you'll start closing statements because we started opening statements down here, so we'll go this way, just to be fair. Okay, this is the last question of the night, rapid round. How will you improve the substitute shortage our district is having? Substitute teacher, obviously.
So to improve substitute shortage, my thought would be that we really need to focus in on the academics of the students. I'm not sure if the substitutes are looking at how our schools are performing and are not wanting to come and participate in substituting at the schools. I think it's important to network, it's important to put out feelers, really work with the school system itself and with the teachers in order to improve the pool of substitute teachers that would actually come in. Maybe trying to figure out what their needs are in order to accommodate that.
How will you improve the substitute shortage our district is having?
Thank you. We have worked on this for many, many years. This is nothing new, unfortunately. We have increased the pay for subs. We are providing more support for them, and we would just continue in that direction. I believe that things are changing and they are coming back to us, and it will continue to improve.
How will you improve the substitute shortage our district is having?
Well, Ms. Usselton brought out the pay, but we've already increased it, and we're probably the top payer in our area. But it is tough, and I would make another appeal to really work on retired teachers. They've got the experiences, and we ought to hit them as soon as they walk out the door to try to get them to come back for great second income with a pension check.
How will you improve the substitute shortage our district is having?
Well, I have served as a substitute teacher. In fact, I did the first year I moved to Tullahoma, and it is a tough job. It's tough to get called at 6 o'clock in the morning and say, we need you now. It's tough to come in to a classroom that you don't know and what you do. So I think the shortage comes from the lack of knowledge and the lack of understanding that substitutes need to have. I would say we might want to train them. Maybe have some training classes for them and encourage people to come and say, how do you do this? And also train the teachers that need the substitutes to have the proper credentials, have all of the data there that they need to teach. I think we go in with substitution thinking we're going to watch a movie today. You know, that's just not it. That's not what happens, and it's not what should happen. Substitutes ought to be valid and viable to come into that classroom and teach the subject matter, and we need to train them and help them to do that.
How will you improve the substitute shortage our district is having?
Yeah, first I'd like to say that this is not a problem that's unique to Tullahoma City Schools. This is a nationwide shortage. Ever since COVID happened, we've had a hard time getting substitute teachers. Finances are always helpful. If we can relocate some more assets to pay our substitute teachers a little better, I think that would help. I agree that training would be beneficial, and I would like to ask each of you to consider being a substitute teacher. So maybe out of this pool here, maybe we'll have one or two who would be willing to step up and serve. Thank you.
All the way down the line. And then it's going to go back after you're through, so. Okay, and one last time, how will you improve the substitute shortage our district is having?
So I had a good idea. It might not be a good idea. You guys can fill me in on this. But we have a lot of our students that leave our high school and pursue a career in education. And some of them stay close by. And I had a thought that maybe we could invite those students back to the school that they left from, that they care about, and put them in a type of internship where they can be not only a teacher's relief, but when they get the experience they need, they could also fill in as a substitute teacher under an internship. So it works out for our teachers, it works out for the students, and it works out for those substitutes that are going on to do their first full-time teaching job. And they might love it so much that they stay here, because we're going to need more teachers as the community grows. And why not home grow them? So that was an idea I had, but it is hard to get people to volunteer for last-minute jobs, but I think that through the community, we can pull together and actually get a solution for that. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And that concludes the question part of this forum. And by the way, thanks for all the questions are great, and we still got this many in here. I mean, we have a box full. I was just pulling them off the top, but the ones I read are excellent, excellent questions. And we're going to go all the way down to Ms. Harrison, and
Yeah.
you're going to begin us. How long do
Sure.
we have for closing?
Let's make it a minute and a half. Keep it short.
1 minute and a half to tell these people why they should vote for you, and we'll work our way back this way.
Yeah, I'd like to just take a minute to thank you all for being here tonight. I'm glad that the education of our children is important to you because it's important to me too. So if your question didn't get asked, I'd be happy to talk with you after the forum. But I care deeply about all of the children learning in Tullahoma City schools, and I care about their academic growth and their performance, and I care about the teachers being backed and supported. I care about the finances and the allocation and the stewardship of your taxpayer dollars. And I care about the performance of our school compared to other schools in the state and other schools in our region. Our children deserve the best schools. Our community deserves the best schools. Again, healthy schools lead to healthy communities. So if you're looking for a trustworthy, dedicated, passionate school board member, please vote for me. Thank you.
You have 1.5 minutes for closing statement.
Thank you. I'd just like to close by saying I really loved my experience on the Tullahoma School Board before. It gave me great pleasure to be able to have ideas and join with that. I was on there when we built West Middle School, when we built East Lincoln School, when we built this auditorium, when we built the stadium. And now that we're facing building Farrah School, I feel like I have something that I would like to get back and can give back in that arena as well. I also think that school boards should be made up of a variety of people, a composite. They should not all think alike. They should not all bring the same things to the school board. I think they bring unique capabilities, and we learn from that. And the word collaborative has been used, and I think that's true. I think we collaborate with each other. So I come from no children in the school system, and I know you like to hear that, but I have children that came through this school system, and they came through and did very well, and I'm appreciative of that. I think I bring a unique and unbiased opinion by having no children in the school system. I think that I can be objective about all the children in the school system, and I think that I can bring that to the board to be fair and honest with every student that comes through here. I do think Tullahoma provides an excellent school system. I think we have things we need to look at, and we need to look at those as a board. And I think a diverse board that would bring different ideas and different things to the table would be well worth having here. I'd like to serve again. I would honor your vote if you would vote for me. Thank you so much.
You have 1.5 minutes for closing statement.
My final statement, let me relay a family story. My wife Beth and I have 3 children that were privileged to be educated in the Tullahoma school system. When my older son returned from Dartmouth College for Christmas break of his freshman year, I was anxious to ask him how well prepared he was for an Ivy League education. And he quickly told me that he had his background for his humanity courses at THS had him at at least a 50% level compared to his classmates. Many of his classmates had attended elite Northeast prep schools, which I thought spoke well of THS. But before I could ask about math, he stated firmly, no one at Dartmouth has a better math background. And I want to pledge to every citizen of Tullahoma that if I'm reelected, I will work to diligently ensure that every student in our system has access to the same level of education that is afforded to my family. Thank you.
You have 1.5 minutes for closing statement.
Thank you. The first thing that I want to say is our students and teachers in school system should not be measured by one test. I have real issue with that. there are so many other things that go into a fine education, and our children are getting it. Our teachers are doing wonderful things all day long. We believe in the whole child: academics, extracurriculars, athletics, and fine arts. I'm going to do a little family story too, so we might have been looking over here. In August of 2005, our son Sam, who was in kindergarten, after a few weeks of school, I was notified that students were changing classrooms for reading. I asked Sam, "How are you enjoying Mrs. Mahaffey and reading class?" He asked, "Who is Miss Haffey and what's reading?" I thought we were in trouble. But that little darling, who's here tonight, went on to graduate as valedictorian of his class at Tullahoma High School. You all, public education is wonderful, and teachers are magic, and they are right here in Tullahoma City Schools. Thank you.
You have 1.5 minutes for closing statement.
All right, thank you all again for showing up tonight. I do thank the teachers, substitute teachers, anybody involved with the kids. I know that everyone has put in a lot of effort for them. I care about the children and I care about the community, and I'm looking forward to helping make it great again. I do think that the state report card and the increase in spending should be a wake-up call to everyone. We are failing currently to adequately prepare all of our children for their future. And ultimately, I believe most people would agree that mediocrity is not acceptable for our community. I know not everything is graded on one test, but we have been in a decline for well over a decade. I think a change in direction is badly needed as our schools have been in the decline. Our school board needs fresh ideas and leadership with more interaction and open discussion to hear each member's perspective, ensuring that all decisions affecting our children are well thought out. I would bring the school board honesty, integrity, openness, and commitment that the children deserve, that our school system deserves. I look forward to earning your trust, and I would be honored to receive your vote and serving the community on the Tullahoma City School Board. I'll be available afterwards for questions and to meet you as we can after the forum. Thank you again.
And you're going to close us out tonight. You have 1.5 minutes.
All right, thank you so much for being here. I just want to close with what I would bring to the school board is a unique perspective as someone who never went to college. I went straight to the workforce out of high school. I went straight to the military, got a good profession, a skill, and I brought it back to the community. I'm a strong advocate for the career technical education program, and I want to see our kids succeed. I'm invested for the next 20 years, like Beth said, and any success that I can do with the board in collaboration with the board is a direct effect on my family and our families. I will not fail my children. I will not fail my community, and I want to see us build this community strong. We have a growing city that needs professionals. We need more teachers, and I think that I can bring a perspective that can build on ideas to make all that happen. So, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, your candidates for the Tullahoma City School Board. Please give them a big round of applause.
Okay, it's going to take us just a couple minutes to get the stage ready. It might be a good idea to stand up and stretch your legs. We need about a minute or two to get realigned, and we'll bring the property assessor candidates up. And we'll find a way to get those to you, okay? So just heads up on that. And if the property assessor candidates want to come on up, we've got Ms. Jenna Almacher, Alyssa Fletcher, and William Huell Goldston. You can come on up and we'll get started here real shortly.
Okay, you got the right box.
You're looking for the one, yeah, there's a ton of them in there. Yeah, there's.
Welcome, welcome. Come on in.
I'm gonna make a quick pit stop.
Okay, you need to?
Yeah, if I can. It's about me real quick, I'm back.
I'll be right back. Okay, our moderator's got to take a pit stop, so we'll be.
You can put it out front. You can put it out front. I'm gonna put it out front for you. We're not gonna have it on the stage. Why not? Because this is even playing field for everybody. So we're not doing advertising on the stage. We're just. I didn't say that in the rules. Well, we're not. So do you wanna bring it to me?
I'll set it down in front of me.
No, we're not having advertising in the hall. This is not an advertising place. This is, y'all are gonna get to me. Okay. I'll be glad to put it right outside the door, or wherever you want me to put it out front, it'll be fine. That'll be fine. Well, that's just. Do you have, you want? I want to tell y'all, I'm trying to use my phone for the time, how much time. And it does this little nice little chime thing, but then sometimes it doesn't do it. So then I have to hit the bell. And so if I hit the bell a lot, it means it's way over. Don't think I'm picking on somebody if you get a bell instead of a chime.
Ready to go, Greg?
Huh?
We're ready to go.
We're ready.
As soon as you've got the box of new questions.
We have.
Same format.
Start, okay.
We're gonna, only 3 candidates, we'll get through several questions, but,
Okay. There's
I'll-
not a
I'll
lot
give
of
you a signal,
questions in
'cause
there.
We do have one school board member here, county school board, and I just want to give her the microphone for 3 minutes at the end.
Do we want to let her do her statement now? That's fine. Yeah. Yeah, good point. Are we ready? We're ready, yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, take your seat if you don't already have one. We are about to begin the county property assessor forum. And we're going to start out just like we did with school board. We're going to have a 3-minute opening statement. And after that, I'm going to draw randomly from this box, which I haven't seen the questions, so don't shoot the messenger. Okay, we're going to start right to my left. Miss Jenna Amacher, you have 3 minutes to talk to the audience.
Okay, good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jenna Amacher. I currently serve as the Mayor Pro Tem for the City of Tullahoma. I have been in elected office since August of 2020. In that role, I have had the opportunity to learn quite a bit about policy making, about massive budget, and how to effectively manage funds, and also what are some of the issues in the collaboration with some of our county services. And one of the reasons that I would like to run for a county seat is because I know that this is a role in which, number one, I can use my background in education, aka in political science and with a Doctor of Jurisprudence, with an emphasis in public administration, in order to benefit the community as a whole. But also I can go in and look at how that office interacts and the services they provide, and how that is also a benefit to the cities. I often feel that our tax dollars in the county, when you live in the city, kind of get lost in translation. And we sometimes feel like we are not represented equally with the money that we provide both to the city and to the county. And the county sometimes doesn't give us back the services and the level of customer service to the city. One example of that is the fact that our zoning is in each individual city is not represented on the property tax data assessment page when you go online to research a piece of property. And simple things like that can provide more information to the community for us to use that office to be a data hub for individual members of the community. So thank you very much. Please consider voting for Jenna Amacher for property assessor.
All right. If you would pass the microphone to your left. And next, we'll have a 3-minute opening statement by Alyssa. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Alyssa Keel-Fletcher.
Yes, sir. Proud to see everyone here tonight. My name is Alyssa Keel-Fletcher, course candidate for property assessor. Coffee County has been the home of my family for 5 generations, and I think Coffee County is a wonderful place to live. My husband and I have been fortunate enough to live, work, and raise a family here as well. I currently have served in the Coffee County Property Assessor's Office for 30 years. It's a job that I absolutely love. I am the Chief Deputy Assessor there, and I do all of the GIS mapping. I'm also a licensed registered nurse in Tennessee, and I'm a graduate of Motlow, MTSU, TCAT, and ETSU. Some of the responsibilities of the Property Assessor's Office include the mapping and collection of property data and ownership information. Our main task in the office, if you will, would be the appraisal, assessment, and classification of every single piece of property in Coffee County. Verification of real estate transfers through buyers, sellers, and their agents. We maintain physical characteristics of all the property in the county through on-site inspection, building permits, COs from the Codes Office, notice of completions, subdivision plats filed in the Register of Deeds Office, and other documents. We are also, by state law, we conduct periodic reappraisals, which updates the appraised value on all of the property in the county. Our county is currently on a 4-year schedule and have been the entire time I've been there. Currently, the staff in the assessor's office has a combined experience of over 100 years, and they understand these responsibilities. If I'm elected, of course, I intend to retain, hopefully, the experience and the knowledge that I believe exists in the office currently. If elected, of course, I pledge to consistently provide the customer service I believe we already provide with fairness, integrity, and efficiency. And I hope you will consider this information when you cast your vote.
Thank you. And next, we'll be going to William Huell Goldston.
Yes, thank you. My name is William Huell Goldston. I am running for Coffee County Property Assessor. I want to start out by thanking the Coffee County Republican Party for putting this forum on, and for the elected officials that were attended and the candidates. I want to tell you how much I respect you. This is my first time running for anything. You really put yourself out there. I'm outside my comfort zone for sure. I'd like to say thanks for all the people that showed up, all the people that are watching and listening. And yeah, my family moved here. Mom and Dad, Bill and Colleen Goldston, moved here in 1962. Dad worked at the base, retired at the base. Mom worked at the hospital, and she was a native of Warren County, so we moved to Coffee County so Dad could be close to the base. In 1984, I graduated from Coffee County Central High, and shortly after that, I joined the United States Marine Corps. After my first 4-year enlistment, I got out and attended college. During that time, I worked in residential, commercial, building trades to pay my way through school, even worked in it after school, after graduating college. I graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Economics, have a minor in history. While I was attending college, I married my wife, Nancy Goldston. She's from Coffee County as well. We have 2 sons, a daughter, a son-in-law, daughter-in-law, and grandchildren, all residents of Coffee County. I started down my path as an entrepreneur and business owner with a financial services business, and later on tax service. I attended the College of Charleston and graduated or completed the Certified Financial Planning course there. Got a commission in the Army, served Army National Guard in Tennessee and South Carolina. In 1999, we moved back to Coffee County to raise our family and start my business. After 9/11, I sold my business and went back into the Marine Corps. And then at the age of 41, I graduated from the basic school at Quantico and began my service as a Marine Corps officer. I had the unique privilege of serving 3 times as company commander throughout the Marine Corps. I served in Iraq with 4th Tanks. I did an individual augmentation with the Marine Corps Special Operations Forces in Afghanistan. I was a combat engineer, tank battalion staff officer, worked with 1st Marine Amphibious Force as an exercise officer facilitating training and planning training. I had graduate level studies through Marine Expeditionary Warfare School and Command and Staff College. I retired from the Marine Corps in 2019, and I'm currently in my 8th year on the Coffee County Industrial Board, where I'm the chairman of the Park Development Committee and currently a local realtor. I'm asking for your vote as property assessor, and let me put that experience as management and unit building to work for you. Thank you.
All right, keep the microphone. We're going to start with our questions.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to edit it slightly. It's a good question. I'm going to add a little something to it. I'm an editor, so I can do that. What's one of the major responsibilities of this office? And my addition is, what do you see being the most challenging part of this office?
Okay, the basic obligation of the office are pretty straightforward, and Alyssa mentioned quite a few of those in her introduction. It's the valuation of property, classification of property, residential or personal property, whether that's commercial property or residential property, classification, mapping, record keeping. The biggest challenge, I would say, is streamlining the process, possibly working with other departments, whether it's the state or county government, and working with the community. One of the things that I think would be a goal would be more community outreach, letting people know a little bit more about what the property assessor's office does, and reaching out and maybe a little bit more of education, and also working with other departments.
Thank you. And pass the microphone, please. And the question to you again, what is the major responsibilities of this office, and what responsibility you think would be most challenging to you?
Of course, in Coffee County, we are a larger county parcel count-wise than any adjoining county. And so the sheer number of houses being built here, the growth in the county since 2016, we've had it since 2016, and I've mentioned 2016 because that's when the real estate market really began its incline value-wise, number of sales. We've added 1,800 parcels in this county and 2,200 major structures. With all of those come amazing amount of documents. I sat and added today about 24,000 documents through our office concerned with home building, subdivision development. So the amount of work, the appraisals, it's just, there are a lot of document processing. Tax-frees, there's an elderly program that benefits for tax-frees. Certainly, it's a mind-boggling amount of documents processed through this office, so.
If you would pass the microphone to the right. And again, the question, what are the major responsibilities of this office, and what do you think you'll find most challenging?
Yes, I would echo, obviously the major responsibilities are as Ms. Fletcher said, but one of the responsibilities of this office is one that we might not often think about, and that is to be an advocate for our citizenry. There are a couple of bills and other questions, I may talk about them more at detail and in length, but there are a couple of bills that could potentially affect Coffee County that are on the legislative agenda this year in the General Assembly. And one of those stems because the Shelby County property assessor, Melvin Burgess, last year started advocating and lobbying for states, and particularly Shelby County, for the state to be able to allow Shelby County to potentially go to a 2-year reassessment cycle. There is a bill at the General Assembly this year that would potentially allow counties to go to a 2-year assessment cycle, which would potentially, if we're looking at Franklin County's reassessment values last year, they went up, upwards of 30%. If we go to a 2-year assessment cycle, how does that affect the individuals and the reappraisals, especially with, as Ms. Fletcher said, all of the growth in the county? And so potentially, I am concerned that we don't understand the ramifications and of the political agenda at the state at this time. So I would just hope to be an advocate for that, for those initiatives.
Thank you. Please pass the microphone to your left, and we are going to start this round with Ms. Fletcher. And once again, I do not write the questions, I merely read them. As someone new to Tullahoma, where do all of our property tax monies go? Why are they so high, but the roads can't be plowed or salted during the ice storm?
Well, this office really has no control over where property tax dollars are spent. We appraise property where one component of the tax bill, the other component of your tax bill is your tax rate, which are set by your aldermen and your commissioners. And then, of course, your county commissioners and your aldermen are also the same people that set the budgets for the city and the county, and they are ultimately the body that decides where the tax dollars go. They set a resolution every summer that, the county rate right now is $2.33. Of course, there's a rate for city, county, all of them, they all have different rates, but the county only rate in Coffee County, out in the county outside of any city limits, is $2.33. They all have a breakdown, school system, rural solid waste. The county commission is ultimately the decision maker for those.
If you would pass the microphone to your left. As someone new to Tullahoma, where do all our property tax monies go? Why are they so high, but the roads can't be plowed or salted during the ice storm?
Now, that is a good question, but and I've heard similar questions while I've been out campaigning, and The fact is, as Alyssa alluded to, this department does not make the tax rate or determine, where taxes are spent. But that's part of I guess one of the challenges I was speaking of about educating the population, educating people about exactly what the property assessor does. I mean, multiple times I've been actually, after I've said I'm running for property assessor, they keep calling me, say I'm wanting the tax assessor's position. Well, it's a property assessor, and assessing value and keeping up with the records is exactly the job and the position. And also I'm concerned as well about taxes and where they're going. And as someone that did taxes as a professional, I always advocated for morally and ethically minimizing your tax liability, and then having the responsibility of seeing that those taxes are spent responsibly.
All the way back down to Ms. Almacher. And I'll read it. As someone new to Tullahoma, where do all of our property tax monies go? Why are they so high, but the roads can't be plowed or salted during the ice storm?
Yes, sir. So I have a unique perspective on this as someone who actually sets part of that budget currently. And I will tell you that, holding our government accountable is not just the citizens' responsibility or board members. It is everybody's responsibility, including the county property tax assessor. And so sometimes if we don't realize and we're naive in what we're doing and how our assessments affect things, we don't understand that even though there's so much growth and we're reassessing and reappraising, how is that being used to fund the extra police, the extra fire trucks, the extra maintenance on those roads and salting and things like that? And how does one raise taxes without raising taxes? Last year we got plenty of phone calls in the city of Tullahoma going, oh my gosh, they had a tax raise. We did not have a tax raise. We had a reassessment. And so you can essentially raise taxes without raising taxes if your assessments go up. And so I believe that, understanding that and the macroeconomics of that is very crucial, and holding the government responsible and being at the county commission meetings, being at the BOMA meetings in both places to hold our government accountable and make sure that our taxes stay low.
Hold on to that microphone. We're coming right back with a new question. How do you ensure fairness in services to all customers?
Okay. I believe that if you streamline your services and you offer the same customer service to every individual, that you will have fundamental fairness within the office. And I don't believe that, you should get special treatment if you're a developer or a real estate agent or someone who, for whatever interest, needs values to be raised or whatever interest needs values to be lower. I believe that we need to take into consideration inflation and, we have a duty and a responsibility to represent the taxpayers, not the government, in this position.
Pass to the left, please. Thank you. There you go. And I'll ask the question again. How do you ensure fairness in services to all your customers?
Two things, I think. One, mandated by state law, our office covers about 10,800 parcels reviewed every year. We're currently on a 4-year cycle. The first 3 years are spent mandatory review, 10,800 parcels. The state then, and the fairness behind that is the accuracy and how your property is being assessed. Do we have your square footage correct? Do we have your acreage correct? Do we have your outbuildings accounted for? Did a tornado tear up a detached garage that needs removed from your appraised value? The state then, once we review, monitor, make those corrections every year, the state then audits behind us. So in the office, they audit behind, and they are also reviewing our work for fairness. So it's state law. Also, why I believe our office currently, and I would like to, of course, Beverly Robertson's my boss. I think she is a fine person. Our budget is $516,000 right now. and we have a parcel count, real estate parcel count of 32,000 parcels. I pulled 5 different counties with less parcel count that all have larger budgets than us. So currently, thank you.
And to your left, please. And one last time, how do you ensure fairness in services to all your customers?
I would say one of the ways, going back to educating the public, is to assure them that they're being treated fairly when you meet with people, and let them know, as I believe the case is, that the property assessor's office is open to everyone, and it is accessible to them. That's part of educating the public and letting them know. Also, fairness through technology and accountability, and it comes down to leadership, and that would be the leadership of the property assessor and the team that they build. Also, as far as fairness, I believe that the certified tax rate is put into effect and theoretically to mandate that tax revenue be revenue neutral in order to make that fair when you're reassessing the property. If it's put into practice correctly, that should help to level out the playing field and make it fair.
Right, hold on to that mic. We've got one more submitted question, and then if we got time, I've got one from the moderator. As the county population grows, what do you see as the greatest challenges facing your office?
As the county grows, and it's definitely growing, we're going to have expansion through the base and through the new industrial plants here and new housing, and having the personnel and having the technology and the opportunity to get out and continue the property assessment process on the new construction and have good plans for growth, because you need that, and I lost my train of thought there. But yeah, I would say that being able to go out and fairly assess those properties would be, what was the question?
As the county population grows, what do you see as the greatest challenges facing your office?
Keeping up with the assessment of that growth is what I was trying to get at there. I thought I was answering the question, but I had to make sure, so.
Pass it to your right, please. As the county population grows, what do you see as the greatest challenge facing your office?
And again, as Mr. Goldston said, every house added is hand measured. Every parcel added is mapped in the office. The values added to the tax roll every year, and the amount of documents associated with all of that growth. It's not just our office, but as Ms. Almacher said, growth in the county then requires more firemen, more school teachers, more street department workers. Growth always requires more employees for services. So the same thing in our office. A law established years and years and years ago, Tennessee TCA 67-1-506 is a law that establishes the employee count in our office by parcel count. But since that law was established a long time ago, in 1997, the state mandated personal property audit. Then they implemented tax freeze in 2007 for Manchester City, 2008 for Coffee County, 2009 for Tullahoma City. We have less full-time employees now and more part-time employees than when I came here 30 years ago. And we are doing, I think, more work with a smaller budget than any surrounding county.
Thank you. And lastly, as the county population grows, what do you see as the greatest challenge facing your office?
I will absolutely echo that doing more with less is going to be a challenge. But I believe that remaining revenue neutral is actually going to be the challenge, especially if our county considers going to a 2-year assessment cycle should that pass in the coming General Assembly session. There's also another bill called a property tax cap bill that would limit the assessments to increase no more than 2% every 2 years, or not more than 3% every 3 years, depending on whether or not you're on a 2, 3, or 4 year rather than the current 4, 5, or 6 year assessment cycle. And the reason for that, I wholeheartedly believe, is to push back on the intent of some counties to depend on this office to maybe they're revenue neutral each individual year, but if you're raising it every 2 years and reassessing, then every 3 years, you're not revenue neutral anymore. So making sure that we are not building the infrastructure on the current tax base of just those who own property, and putting all of those infrastructure needs and extra revenue needs on those individuals, because I feel like that is an unfair tactical advantage against people who are already paying more than their fair share in these taxes. So I would say, a vote against me is probably a vote to raise your taxes.
To your left, please. And one last pass the microphone to your left, please. We're going to start out with this last question to Ms. Fletcher. This is my question. We'll have a new county property assessor. We know that. So, what is one change, if any, that you will make to the office?
Actually, I wrote down about 4 things that I thought, of course, all of the software in the office, all of the mapping program, the state of Tennessee provides all of that to this office. We are technically a county office, but all of the information basically is for state of Tennessee. Currently, every month we receive electrical inspections from certified electrical inspectors that the information provided sometimes is not enough to correlate. So we have to, of course, they're all added by map and parcel. Every electrical inspection, we go to the property. You could just be adding a small detached building and adding electricity to it. If you had to have an electrical inspection, we have to go see if that is appraisable, if it's accessible to your property. So one thing I would like to ask the state for their electrical inspectors is to add map and parcel, or at least a very specific property address to those. One of the other things would be if the state of Tennessee, which they already provide aerial photos to us, if the state provided more up-to-date aerial photos, that helps. Of course, we are physically driving property all the time. So any updated aerial photos helps us save time and gas.
And to your right.
Oh.
To your right, yeah.
Other right.
Yeah. And the same question goes, we'll have a new county property assessor. What's one thing that you would change if elected?
I would definitely update the property tax data assessments to reflect current zoning in both municipalities. Currently, we have had several issues in the city of Tullahoma with individuals who do not understand that land use is different than zoning, and they will buy a particular piece of property for a particular purpose and come to the city and be denied a building permit with the false mistaken belief that they have bought and are under particular zoning that they are not under, because that land use may be substantially different. The state has long allowed counties to determine whether or not they want to reappraise based on land use or based on zoning, and because our zoning is vastly different between Manchester City and the county, we have always reappraised based on land use classifications. But there is still a slot there that we can account for the zoning in the municipality. So that's one thing, and just making sure that we are giving the most up-to-date information and being a omniscient central hub of all things to do with property.
All the way down to the left. There you go. And go ahead and keep the mic once you answer this, because we're going to go into our closing statements.
Can you refresh me on that question?
Yes.
I believe I knew it. But
yes. What's one thing you would change if elected?
Well, I would like to piggyback on what the other two candidates said, but I would say that I couldn't tell you exactly what my priority would be right now, because the first thing I've always wanted to do when I go into a new unit or an existing business is to sit down and decide where we're at right now and set goals of where we want to go, and then decide how we're going to get there. So the first thing I'd want to do is come in and decide, it's like New Year's resolutions. Where am I at right now, and where do I want to go? So all those are good ideals, but I couldn't tell you exactly what my number one priority would be until I got in and took a look, and then we could work together as a team and decide what our goals were.
Thank you much. And that is all the questions we have for the evening. We will now go with our closing statements. We'll start with you, and you have 1.5 minutes to address the audience.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to come out and introduce myself and give you some ideas of why I want to be the Coffee County property assessor. I'd say that I'd like to put my experience and skills that I got through being a small business owner, establishing new business or taking over existing business. And then sometimes the military skills don't quite translate over for civilians that don't understand. I was an armor officer, but I didn't just drive tanks. A majority of my priorities, a majority of the things I had to do with personnel, working with people, whether it was sister branches of the service, other nations, other civilians outside our organization. Those are where my skill sets lay, and I like to put them to work in the Coffee County Property Assessor's office.
Thank you. You have 1.5 minutes for your closing statement.
Again, I have served in this office for 30 years. I believe I'm the candidate that understands the deadlines, the Tennessee laws. This office has to stay in compliance with all Tennessee laws. I believe I'm the candidate that can assure voters of a seamless transition in the office. I hope to maintain all the current staff. Like I said, there's about 100 years combined experience there. But with my experience, I hope you will let me keep doing my job.
All right, you have 1.5 minutes for closing statement.
Yes, so as the current chairman of the Coffee County Young Republicans and somebody who has served this party tirelessly, I would just like to remind the voters that you are going to vote in the Coffee County Republican Party primary. In fact, this isn't even the general election for property assessor. Your job is to go vote for the person who has proven themselves to be bona fide, qualified candidates for the conservative ideas and values for the Republican Party. In fact, it is even a violation of TCA 2-7-115B and punishable as a crime if a person votes in a political party's primary without being a bona fide member or affiliated with that political party, or to declare allegiance to that party without the intent to affiliate with that party. I'm not saying that anybody here on this stage is doing that, but I do know that we have lots of crossover voters potentially after listening to our school board candidates. And I would say that, you know, if you're going to vote for your person that has the strongest background in conservative ideals and putting those to use, and for the party's primary, I definitely have earned that. And I will continue to put forth conservative policies in whatever positions I continue to serve in throughout my career. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Your candidates for county property assessor.
Hey, don't leave yet, because we've heard from all the candidates that are in contested races. But there's 2 other candidates here tonight that will be on the ballot for all Tullahoma voters. Well, maybe not all, the districts 8 and 9 voters. And we wanted to just give them 3 minutes to introduce themselves. There's no questions for them, Dwayne. So thank you, Dwayne, for your help tonight. Everybody, a round of applause. Did a great job. But first, I tell you, come on up. First, Beth Yentz. I'm probably brutal. Come on up the stage if you don't mind. And you'll have to pronounce your name for me. I still won't get it right. Thank you, guys. Thanks so much.
I'm taking my name thing too.
Oh, hey. Cool. And we'll have one other candidate after Beth, and that's Randall Breaker, who is our constable. And my question for Randall is, what is a constable? So this is Beth Yentz. Please welcome Beth. She's running for county school board for the seat that represents districts 8, 9, and 5 around the lake. So welcome, Beth. 3 minutes about yourself. And why.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Yes, I'm going for seat 3 in districts 5, which is a Manchester district, and 8 and 9, which is a Tullahoma district. I have a varied background. I think that my varied background is going to be very helpful on the school board. I was a nurse for not a lot of years, probably about 5. I went until I had a baby, and so I stayed home with my children for 25 years. During that time, I homeschooled for 12 of those years and thoroughly enjoyed that process. After my youngest went to high school, and he went to Coffee County High School, my 2 youngest children went to public high school because that was their choice, and I let them have that choice on what they wanted to do at that point. And I returned to nursing at that point and went through Harton's program to get nurses who had been out quite a while back into the field. I went from there into medical sales because I found that nursing really wasn't for me. Great profession, but I found that it wasn't me. I did medical sales for several years, and then I returned to school for my teaching degree because I found with working with my own children at home, I love to teach. And so I got a degree in art education, and I worked in the Rutherford system for several years until my parents began to have so many health problems that it took me going back and forth to Florida to work with them. I was hoping to have a podium. Didn't work out, so you get to see my cards. My 2 oldest children went to North Coffee at a lovely school, and they had great teachers. But I found that I was blessed with very smart kids, and I found that they couldn't always, trying to deal with all sorts of levels of kids, they couldn't always work as much as they would like to as teachers with the upper students and the lower students. So that was something I could give them for a few years at home. Because of my background, I have a heart for teachers and what teachers go through in the classroom. It's a tough job. It's a battlefield in a lot of ways out there. The teachers deserve every round of applause you can give them, every way you can help them. And that's something I think I can do on the school board, is be a voice for the teachers and a support of the teachers. I think it goes. So I'll leave it at that because my 3 minutes are up. And I just ask for your vote because I really believe that my varied background can bring some insights into the school board that might be helpful. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Beth. And again, Robert Gilley will also be on the ballot, but he's out of town right now. He's actually out of the country, apparently. So Robert and Beth are going for 2 seats. There's only 2 seats, 2 candidates, so there's really no race there, but wanted you to meet her. Next up, Randall Breaker has no challenger, but he's our constable, currently appointed and soon to be. So what is a constable? Tell us about what a constable is.
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity. I know I'm standing between you and going home, so this is going to be short. My name is Randall Breaker. I am a constable right now for Districts 5, 8, and 9, and I'm running for re-election. A constable is essentially a peace officer, a law enforcement officer, but it's elected by you, the people, instead of being a job. We don't get paid, though. And I would like to be that again because I think it's an important job, and I enjoyed doing it. My job, as some of you probably know, I'm the manager, the engineer that runs your water supply out on Normandy Reservoir. And my original intent to be a constable was to help secure that water supply and have more security out there after 9/11 and other things that have happened in our communities. It's just really important, as you know, to have a secure water supply. So that was my intent in originally getting the constable's position, and it's been really interesting and kind of fun. So I'd like to do it again, and I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thanks, Randall. Hey, again, just one more round of applause for all the candidates that came out tonight. Thank you. And thank you to everyone else. I just have a couple of closing statements. Thanks for coming, for being engaged. Please sign in and give us your email address up front, and we'll add you to our email list. We will not wear you out. I mean, maybe every 2 or 3 weeks if we're lucky. A couple of notes, a reminder here too. We're going to have another forum Monday night, February 5th at 6 p.m. at Coffee County High School for more of the candidates that Manchester folks will vote for in county. So you're welcome to come to that. The property assessors will be there again. And just a reminder that early voting starts February 14th on Valentine's Day through the 27th. Election Day is March 5th. And I will let you know, too, that LightTube and P-Head filmed this tonight, so it should be on YouTube. It should be available to look at again if you want to look over some of those answers. There are some voter registration forms out front if you're not registered. Definitely, the deadline for registration is coming up very soon. I think it's February 5th. And then I'm sure that the candidates would be happy to answer more questions. And we will find a way to assemble all the questions that were not answered and get those to the candidates and then get those to the public. Maybe the newspaper will help us out with that, but we'll work on that. And again, thanks for coming. It's been our privilege to host tonight, and thanks to all that helped us pull this together tonight. Thanks, Susan, Sally, Maureen. Thanks, everybody.